Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another video. We have some tremendous news coming out of Bethesda. For a while, I was very concerned after the announcement of Fallout 76 being a Bethesda store exclusive, and it's still been an exclusive, and then games like Rage 2 only being listed on the Bethesda store but not being on Steam. It has now been clarified by Bethesda that all of the future Bethesda titles will be coming to Steam, and Fallout 76, for the two of you that care to still play that game will also be arriving to Steam later this year. I do think that Bethesda's initial plan was to move away from Steam and start curating games on their own platform. However, considering Fallout 76's negative reception, considering Bethesda has been on a little bit of a downside in terms of momentum, I personally think that that has gotten them to change their stance, but we'll talk about that. Also, want to talk a little bit about game streaming. Google Stadia could be priced at $15 a month if it launches with over 500 titles, and that's coming straight from an analyst, specifically IDC analyst Lewis Warden. First, let's talk Bethesda. They tweeted this out, and this is some super exciting news. Quote, "We're pleased to announce that Rage 2, Wolfenstein Youngblood, Wolfenstein Cyberpilot, and Doom Eternal will be released on Steam as well as Bethesda's store. We will also be bringing Fallout 76 to Steam this year." Now, I don't know if Fallout 76 coming to Steam is going to change things. In terms of the reception of that game, I think that game has just dug a hole, and right now it can't get out of it. However, games like Rage 2, games like Wolfenstein Youngblood, if those games were exclusive to the Bethesda store, I don't think they would do all too well. Rage 2 is a very compelling game to me. Avalanche Studios is working on it, and that game is shaping up to be a substantial improvement upon the first game. You guys know I loved Wolfenstein 2, so of course I was excited for Wolfenstein Youngblood. That game is going to have cooperative play, and I want that game on Steam, or actually I just want it available on every platform, so that's cool. Cyberpilot, I believe, is the VR title, and of course Doom Eternal, I believe for many of you guys, based on the games that are announced for 2019, that might be your most anticipated game of this year so far. Based on the announcements we know about, Doom 2016 was so good, and Doom Eternal looks to be, just like Rage 2, a substantial improvement upon that, so great to see all of these games will be available on Steam again. I do think this is a case of Bethesda wanting to move away from Steam with the release of Fallout 76, but you saw the reception of that game, you saw the train wreck that game was. You need to turn around the reception of that game. You need to turn around the perception of Bethesda as a whole, especially ahead of E3, which we know a bunch of new announcements are going to come as a part of that. You don't want to go into that show with just this negative cloud over you. I don't think this completely dissipates it. However, it definitely is a step in the right direction. Now, what does that mean for the Elder Scrolls 6? What does that mean for games like Starfield? I imagine that those will also be arriving to Steam whenever they are released, but those games aren't going to come for a very long time. I imagine Starfield will be a 2020 game. Elder Scrolls 6 probably a 2021, 2022 title, so even if you're thinking about those games, just be mindful of the fact that they won't be out for a couple of years. Hell, I might be dead by the time Elder Scrolls 6 turns out. Let's hope that's not the case. But that's just an idea of how long away we are from those games. However, games like Rage 2, that's coming out pretty soon. Wolfenstein Youngblood should be out this year. Cyberpilot should be out this year. And Doom Eternal, of course, one of the biggest games of 2019. If you guys are unaware, Bethesda is also celebrating the 25th anniversary of Elder Scrolls. You can get Morrowind right now, but that is a Bethesda store copy. And Steam is running sales on the Elder Scrolls titles if I can pull them up right now. I see the Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim Special Edition 40% off for $24. And I do believe Elder Scrolls Online is on sale and all of the content for that game. $24 for Skyrim seems really, really expensive, but that's kind of like an essential game to any PC library, so even for $24, probably worth it, and that version does come with all the DLC. But it's great to see that Bethesda and Valve will remain in bed together, and again, Fallout 76 coming to Steam later this year. Alright, moving on from that, a lot of you guys have asked me to talk about Google's streaming service that I think is incredible, and it could be a legit competitor. However, I still question how accessible game streaming is to the majority of people. However, one analyst from IDC, Lewis Ward, says that he thinks that Stadia could be priced at $15 a month if it launches with north of 500 titles. He also speculates that at least 50 new games should be added each month. That seems a little bit absurd. And what he said is this, quote, "PlayStation now lists for $20 a month, but they've offered discounts down to $10 a month. You have to make several assumptions about customer uptake, infrastructure costs, and what development studios are willing to get paid on a per user or per minute of use basis to come up with a profitable and growing Stadia scenario. But my complete eyeball is that if Stadia can muster 500 plus solid titles at launch, that's a lot of games, and lays out a plan to add at least 50 new games a month, then $15 a month feels about right. $15 a month seems kind of cheap, especially if we are getting new games added to the service. If you are getting games like, say, Devil May Cry 5 when it's being released, or, you know, to make it more comparable to when Stadia is actually available, let's say Vampire Bloodlines Masquerade 2 is available right away on the service. At $15 a month, if you're getting all those games, that's a pretty incredible value. too. I really think an issue with some of these subscription services, sometimes they do undercut themselves from the get-go. Xbox's Game Pass, I think they would have just as many subscribers at, say, $14.99 if they were offering all of the first-party games right away as well. I feel like in that case, you've undercut yourself, and it is a little bit hard to raise your subscription costs after the fact. I'm just speaking at this from a business standpoint. Obviously, I would like Stadia to be available as cheap as possible. I would love all of these subscription services as cheap as possible. But when you undercut yourself from the get-go, you can raise the price in the future, but that's going to bring upon a lot of negative backlash. We see that with Netflix. Obviously, everybody's still subscribed to Netflix, but the constant uptick of the price does lead to negative backlash. I think the best idea is know what you're worth from the get-go and price it accordingly. I still feel if Game Pass, again, was priced at $14.99 with all of the first-party games, people would be subscribed to it in droves. If you're getting games like Halo Infinite and all of these other compelling games, I do think the Xbox audience would remain subscribed. But hey, we're paying $9.99 a month. A lot of the times I'm paying $1 a month, so I ain't complaining about that. I'm just saying from a business standpoint, it's crucial for a subscription service to get that price right from the get-go. Subscription models are very common in sports services. There's a platform called DAZN, and they offer a lot of combat sports, and recently they've changed their pricing structure, and that came with a lot of backlash, and that's why I offer it to you guys from a gaming standpoint. The same thing is going to happen if you don't get the pricing right from the get-go, and that's why undercutting yourself from the get-go is kind of a big deal. Now, as far as Stadia goes and how compelling it is going to be to the mainstream audience, I just don't know about that. I don't know if we're ready for game streaming. I just don't know if it's going to be accessible to the mainstream audience, and I don't even know if they want to do that. I still think there's a place for downloading your games and just playing it that way, but Stadia is promising some very, very impressive stuff. I mean, if we can stream 4K or 8K games and get good performance, zero latency, that is a pretty big deal, and if that becomes commonplace, I think that opens the floodgates for a lot of people to move on over to the service, but there's just still a lot of unknown. As I hear more information, I can make a more definitive opinion, but right now, it's a lot of speculation. And speaking of game streaming services, I do want to highlight that PlayStation Now, a 12-month subscription code, is available for just $60 right now over on Amazon. The analyst said that sometimes PlayStation Now is down to $10 a month. Well, do the math. A 12-month subscription card for $60, that means you are getting each month for what? Just $5? That is insane. And PlayStation Now has over 650 games. You've got PlayStation 3 games in there, you've got PlayStation 4 games in there, and you've got PlayStation 2 games in there. The PlayStation 3 lineup of titles is really where all the compelling games, in my opinion, are. You've got Red Dead Redemption on there, the infamous games, Ni no Kuni 1. A lot of the Yakuza titles are on there as well. There are a ton of awesome games on PS Now. Now, what it doesn't offer versus Game Pass is Game Pass lets you directly download the games, but with PS Now, you can actually download the PlayStation 4 games to your PlayStation 4, of course, if you're using the PC app. You're only going to be able to stream those games, but you can stream the PS4 games too. Yes, if you have good wired connection, you can stream Bloodborne and a lot of the other exclusives that are offered on the service. That sounds pretty freaking awesome. $60 for a 12-month subscription. I really wanted to mention that because PC gamers aren't really going to talk highly about this because it is a PlayStation offering. But if you want to play some of those PlayStation titles, maybe you don't have a PlayStation 4, but you have good internet, PlayStation Now is a really, really solid option. And $60, $5 a month. And again, you pay $60, $5 a month, and you get access to all of these games. That is an absolute steal considering some of the games you get. Bloodborne, Red Dead Redemption, Mafia 3 is on there. I see Fallout New Vegas. A lot of these games would be better if you natively download them onto your PC and you just get the PC version. However, Bloodborne, of course, not on PC. RDR1, not on PC. Ni no Kuni 1, not on PC. Infamous, not on PC. Uncharted, not on PC. I can go on and on. So that's a deal I did want to highlight coming off of all the Google talk as well. So that's going to conclude this video. Again, Bethesda titles are here to stay on Steam, and Fallout 76 will be coming to Steam later this year. Stadia could be priced at $15 a month. That is coming from an analyst, and check out that PlayStation Now deal. $60 for a 12-month subscription. That is pretty freaking awesome. I think that's the lowest PS Now has ever been priced at, and that definitely beats going month by month and paying $20 a month, which I just think is a little bit too high of a cost. But in that case, they didn't undercut themselves, and if they do decide to lower the price at some point, that'll be received with a positive reception. So kind of an interesting note there. That's gonna wrap up this video. If you guys have a request for a future video, you can leave that in the comment section down below, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush here again. Hope you enjoyed the video. As you guys might know, YouTube's notification system is sometimes a little bit wonky, even if you're subscribed to the channel. Maybe you're not abundantly aware that I uploaded a video. To remedy that situation, make sure you hit the bell notification button. This way, whenever I upload a new video, and I try to upload as consistently as possible, you will be notified directly of the upload, and you can watch it as soon as it goes live. I would really appreciate if you guys hit that button so you can stay up to date with all of the the content I'm posting. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.